Okay, let's get into this DJ Vlad Morgan Jerkins situation. So here's the initial tweet that Vlad put out. He was talking about Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, and he said, Kendrick's Not Like Us, you had a better mix, it takes away from the song. And then Morgan Jerkins jumped in, and she said, the beef between Kendrick and Drake is black folks' business, stay out of it. Vlad then said, hey, what, white folks can't talk about hip-hop? They go back and forth. Vlad calls her a bigot. They go back and forth. And then he says, you know what, I'm going to report you. Basically, he said, I'm going to report you to your superiors at Princeton. Then the next day he said, no, I wasn't going to report her to Princeton. We had a really good dialogue about race. If you want to learn more what I thought about it, go to my YouTube channel. Don't go to the YouTube channel. Don't do that. So here's the thing. I will defend Vlad on this one thing. His initial tweet really wasn't about the beef. Vlad has this thing, and he does it against Nas all the time, where he thinks Nas is overrated, and he always criticizes Nas's production. And he's doing the same thing to Kendrick. He basically is talking about Kendrick needed a better mix, which is always funny because Vlad seems like he has his ear like Dr. Dre or DJ Premier, like he's some type of premier producer. And it's like, oh, they needed a better mix. It's like, dude, you're decent at interviews. That's who you are. Like, you do that. You are not a Grammy winning producer, but okay, fine. So when Morgan Jerkins, who is the niece of Rodney Jerkins, Dark Child, producer of Brandy and many other artists, when she jumped in this, she escalated it, and then here we are today. But here's the thing. Vlad has always been problematic. First and foremost, there's been so many young rappers, or just rappers in general, who go on his YouTube podcast and talk about their crimes or pending trials, and they just blurt out everything. And it's like, don't do that, because what happened was some of these guys, either a case was closed and is reopened because they heard something on Vlad that somebody said. If it was a pending trial, the prosecution had more ammunition against somebody. If you are a rapper, it doesn't matter if it's Vlad or not. If someone wants to talk about your case, now, unless you're totally innocent, if you know you did something wrong, don't talk about your case. I'm not even a lawyer, but for what I've seen on Law and Order over the years, you don't talk about your case to the media unless you had a really strong case. So moving forward, any guy who appears on Vlad or any podcast and you got a case, don't talk about it, please. So another issue, you had Lord Jamar and from Brand Nubian and Godfrey the comedian, and they used to be on Vlad all the time. You know, to be honest, I used to listen to Vlad. Like, I remember when Vlad was just interviewing rappers and adult entertainers. And he really gained a lot of views on the adult entertainer interviews. And then once he started getting bigger, like rap acts and actors and actresses, he kind of pushed them aside. And this is where we are today. So Godfrey and Lord Jamar, they used to be on his show all the time. But one day, Vlad said something disrespectful about some black leaders. They asked him to apologize. He said no. And then they left. They said, we're not doing your podcast anymore. And they got their own podcast. You know, Godfrey has in Godfrey We Trust, and Lord Jamar got his podcast on YouTube, so they're doing pretty good on their own. But he has this thing where he doesn't apologize for anything. Vlad can never say, like, my bad. And the one thing about his interview style that annoys me is that nowadays a person's just sitting there and Vlad just pontificates. Sometimes with the clips that he cut up, he's talking for like 3-4 minutes. And then at the end, maybe the guest says something. Like, this dude really loves hearing him talk. Speaking of which, so recently he has this X the Grind with Shannon Sharpe. And when Shannon had his episode of Club Shay Shay with Katt Williams, it blew up. And Shannon, a couple of months ago, was saying, at that point, it was over 60 million views. And Shannon alluded to the fact that he made $6 million off of that episode. Vlad says, I've been on YouTube for a long time. And it's true. Vlad's been on YouTube since like 2008. And he said, I've been on YouTube for a long time, and there's no way he made $6 million. And it's like, well, we don't know how much he actually makes. You know, maybe Vlad's never made that much, but okay. So recently, because it's funny because he keeps on bringing this up to like different guests. And recently, Marcellus Wiley was on there, and he asked him about the Shannon Sharpe thing again. And Marcellus is like, well, what's the CPM? Now, the CPM is the advertising. So when you click on on YouTube, when you're watching YouTube and you see those ads, if you click on it, the CPM is the dollar amount, right? So for Vlad, it might be $5. You might click on an ad that Vlad might have, it might be $5. If you're a lawyer, if you have a law channel and you're really good, man, your CPM could be like $20, $25, $40. For some odd reason, law advertisements for lawyers and for the law, you can make tons of money. The lead attorney that I watch him sometimes, he makes a lot of money just because he's a lawyer and he's good at it. And plus he has his checks. So if you're a lawyer, start a YouTube channel. Doesn't guarantee you'll be a success, but I'm telling you, you can make a lot of money. So back to Shannon. So the thing about Vlad, the thing that he doesn't seem to understand is that Shannon Sharpe is a bigger name than DJ Vlad. Shannon Sharpe and DJ Vlad can walk down the street and most people will know who Shannon Sharpe is, just because he played for the Denver Broncos, he played for the Baltimore Ravens, he did the NFL pregame on CBS, he was on Undisputed, he's now on First Take, he has Club Shay Shay, he has a nightcap with Ocho Cinco. Shannon Sharpe he is a branded individual. So the CPM for Shannon could be $20. It could be $30. It could be $15 just because of his brand. I don't think, even though DJ Vlad has over 1 million subscribers, I forget what the number is, but it's over 1 million. Most people don't know who he is. If I mention to my dad, do you know DJ Vlad? It's like my dad's like, I don't know that dude. If I say, you know Shannon Sharpe? Yeah, I know Shannon. Now my dad might not know about Club Shay Shay, but he knows Shannon Sharpe. But I don't think Vlad is calculating that in. And that's what, and Marcellus Wiley was pushing back on Vlad because he's basically saying, like, we don't know how much money Shannon made. He could be making a lot more. You don't know the numbers. So it seems like it's just jealousy to me when it comes to DJ Vlad. So here's the thing. Vlad has this thing where he feels like he's like the gatekeeper of all things hip hop and black culture. Now he'll say like, no, that's not true. It's like, it does. There's enough room on YouTube for everybody. Yeah. At one point, Vlad had that whole hip hop black culture interview thing on lock, but that was like 2015, 2016, maybe 2017. There's so many people out there doing different podcasts. Yeah, they might not be as popular as Vlad, but they're just as good as interviewing. Like Big Boy in LA. He really don't promote his YouTube channel that much, but he has some really good interviews. Radio Shorty down in Atlanta. I forget what the real name of his podcast is. He got a good channel where he interviews mostly Atlanta artists, but he got a good thing. Like I said, you got Shannon over here. There's real estate for everybody. Like when I checked Social Blade for Shannon, I think he's making about between $96,000 and $1.5 million a year, which is probably kind of low at this point. And Vlad is at $1.9 million a year, so Shannon's like right behind him. And I think that's the thing. I think the interviews that Vlad wanted to get, Shannon's getting it, and he's jealous. But back to this whole Morgan Jerkins thing. Dude, okay, maybe she jumped the gun a bit because you was just talking about the mix. But you got to realize, man, you're a guest of hip hop. Like Eminem knows he's a guest in hip hop. There's a lot of things that Eminem will not talk about. He will not get into black folks' business unless Dr. Dre or 50 Cent ask him to get into their business. Unless he says, hey, man, I got a beef with somebody. Can you jump in? And he'll say, okay, bet. Now, he hasn't done that in a long time. But back in the day, he did. You got to know who you are. You are not a brother, sir. You interview a lot of brothers, but that doesn't guarantee that you can jump in these conversations. And plus, you try to get a black woman fired from a faculty job at Princeton. There are so few black faculty members on any university. Hello, University of Akron. Maybe we need to talk about this. And you're my alma mater, but there's very few black professors and black faculty on college campuses as a whole. Now, Princeton's actually pretty good with black faculty. But man, the idea of you trying to get this black woman fired is insane. So the best you can do right now is not support Vlad anymore. Now, some people will still go on Vlad. Like someone like Boozy. Boozy says he makes about $40,000 a year being on Vlad's YouTube channel. He probably does, so he'll never leave. And that's fine for him, right? But for everybody else, watch Boozy someplace else. Forget Vlad. Watch other shows. And it doesn't have to be Club Shay Shay. Just support channels that's true to the culture and not someone who's just trying to make money off the culture.